Okay, let's dig into this. Canada, it really has this amazing reputation, doesn't it? Seen worldwide as, a welcoming place.
Definitely a beacon of hope for so many people dreaming of a fresh start. They come with fantastic skills, big ambitions.
And just a real hope for a smoother future here.
That hope is so important. But as this guy we're looking at points out, the actual moving process, it isn't always straightforward.
Right.
It's a massive adjustment, and there are challenges. And actually, some pretty common mistakes people make, often totally avoidable ones, that can really slow things down at the start.
Exactly. And the source we're diving into today is an article called The Top 8 Mistakes Newcomers to Canada Make and How to Avoid Them.
Yep.
It's from CanadianVisa.org. Lays out these potential issues very clearly.
So our goal here in this deep dive is basically to unpack this article, grab the most critical insights, and give you a kind of heads up.
Like a shortcut to being prepared.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Understanding these common hurdles so maybe you can sidestep them, make that initial transition hopefully a bit easier.
And yeah, this isn't about focusing on the bad stuff. It's really about being informed, being proactive, based on the advice in this specific guide.
Think of it as like getting a leg up on figuring out some of the trickier bits of settling in Canada.
Okay, so where does the article start? What's the first big area?
Well, it jumps right into something fundamental, especially if you're planning to work here.
Okay. Mistake number 1 on their list, skipping credential recognition.
Yes. The guide really hammers this point home. Having impressive degrees, years of experience back home, that doesn't automatically translate here.
It doesn't mean they're recognized for jobs or licenses right away.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And what often gets missed is that there's a system, a need for validation. If you don't get your foreign qualifications assessed, you could end up seriously underemployed.
We're just facing a much, much longer job hunt than you expected. It's a huge barrier in a lot of skilled fields.
Huge. So how does the guide say to tackle this?
It stresses doing it early, like ideally before you even get on the plane. They mention services like WEEs, that's World Education Services, for getting academic degrees evaluated. But, and this is key, for regulated jobs.
Like doctors, engineers, lawyers.
Yeah, exactly those. You have to connect directly with the specific provincial licensing body. They're the gatekeepers.
They're the ones who'll tell you precisely what extra steps you need, maybe exams, maybe more training to meet Canadian standards.
And are there ways to bridge that gap if you need Canadian experience or context?
Oh, absolutely. The article highlights bridging programs. These are specifically designed for internationally trained professionals.
Okay.
They offer actual Canadian work experience, help you polish up industry-specific language.
And give you that understanding of how things work locally, the workplace culture, stuff like that.
Exactly. Things you just can't get from a piece of paper saying your degree is equivalent.
Makes sense. So getting your professional qualifications sorted is step 1. But then there's just connecting with the country, right? Communication, fitting in.
Which leads straight into the next common mistake, the article flags.
Delaying language training.
Yep. Canada's official languages are English and French. And the guide is pretty blunt. If you're not fluent in the language of the province you're moving to, it's a massive barrier to everything.
Not just work. Daily life, getting services, making friends.
All of it. The mistake is thinking, oh, I'll just sort of pick it up as I go along.
Which rarely works effectively, does it? It can lead to feeling really isolated.
Totally. So the advice is crystal clear. Sign up for language classes right away.
And the guide mentions there are options that don't break the bank.
Yeah, it points out that many provinces have government-funded programs like LINC language instruction for newcomers to Canada, which are often free or very low cost.
But it's not just about sitting in a classroom.
No, definitely not. You got to practice daily, speak it, immerse yourself.
Watch Canadian TV shows, maybe. Read local news.
Exactly. Find conversation groups. The article really links strong language skills directly to succeeding faster, finding better jobs, building relationships, just feeling more integrated overall.
Okay, so we've got professional skills, validation, and language skills. What about the social side, the connections? The guide flags not building a local network as mistake number 3.
And that is so fundamental here in Canada. For jobs, yes, but also just for feeling like you belong.
Networking isn't just a corporate buzzword here, it's how communities often work.
Precisely. And the mistake the guide points out is relying only on firing off resumes online. People underestimate the power of actually knowing someone.
A personal introduction can make a huge difference.
Huge. So how do you start? when you literally know no one.
The advice is be deliberate, be proactive, go to local networking events, maybe ones for your industry.
Join cultural groups, check out your local community center. Career fairs are good too, even just to see what's out there.
And the article strongly pushes volunteering.
Oh yeah, big time. It's a fantastic way to meet people and get that all-important Canadian experience on your resume at the same time.
Double win. What about online?
Absolutely. Use platforms like LinkedIn. Research people in your field here. Connect professionally. The article really emphasizes that a recommendation, even just a heads up from someone in your network.
Can open doors that a cold application just won't.
Exactly right.
All right, let's shift gears completely. Let's talk money. Practical stuff. Mistake number 4. Ignoring credit history.
Ah, yes. This trips up so many newcomers because the system is often very different from back home.
Canada runs on credit scores.
Heavily. And the article points out that if you arrive unaware of this, it impacts so much. Renting an apartment.
Getting a loan, even just setting up a mobile phone plan sometimes.
Right. It's not just about having cash. It's about showing you're reliable with payments.
So what's the strategy the guide suggests?
Act fast. As soon as you arrive, open a bank account. That's step 1.
Okay.
Then, and this is crucial, apply for a secured credit card. These are easier to get because you put down a deposit, and that's your credit limit.
Right. Less risk for the bank.
Exactly. Use it for small things, and this is vital pay off the entire balance every month, on time.
And it's not just the credit card, is it?
No, the guide stresses paying all your bills on time, rent, utilities, internet, phone. Everything contributes to building that positive credit history over time. It shows you're financially responsible.
Okay, and sticking with money, the guide links this to mistake number 6. Living beyond your means.
This is such an easy trap to fall into, especially early on. The cost of living, particularly in big cities like Toronto or Vancouver.
It can be a shock.
Absolutely. And trying to maintain the same lifestyle you had back home before you've got a steady Canadian income, that can lead to debt really, really quickly.
People might overestimate what they'll earn or underestimate just how much things cost here.
That's a common pitfall. So the advice is pretty straightforward. Live modestly, especially that first year or so.
Look for affordable housing, use public transit.
Exactly. And really lean on settlement services. They often have free workshops on budgeting specifically for newcomers, and they know local resources.
It's also about understanding the little things, right? Like sales tax isn't included in the price tag tipping culture.
Yes. Learn about those things early. The article emphasizes that saving, even just a small amount regularly, makes a huge difference for your peace of mind and future stability.
Okay, switching from finances to another essential, health, and adapting to the environment. Mistake number 5 is assuming Canadian healthcare covers absolutely everything.
Yeah, this is a big one. People hear universal healthcare and think it's all free, all covered.
But it's more nuanced than that. Provincial plans cover the basics like doctor visits, hospital stays.
Right, the necessary medical stuff. But the article clarifies they typically don't cover routine dental checkups, eye exams, glasses, prescription drugs, or often things like therapy or counseling.
And those costs can add up fast if you're not prepared. A really important point.
Crucial. So the strategy is find out exactly what your province's plan covers as soon as you're eligible. And be aware, the guide notes, there's often a waiting period after you arrive.
Sometimes up to 3 months.
Could be, before your provincial coverage actually kicks in. So you might need private insurance to bridge that gap.
Good tip. And check workplace benefits too if you get a job.
Definitely. See what extended health benefits your employer offers. And if you need care that isn't covered and can't afford it, look for community health clinics. Sometimes they offer services on a sliding scale.
Okay. And speaking of adapting, the weather. Mistake number 7, not preparing for the Canadian winter.
Ah, yes. It's famous for a reason. The article points out that many newcomers really underestimate just how cold it gets, how much snow there can be.
And being unprepared isn't just uncomfortable, it can be unhealthy or even dangerous.
Totally. Frostbite is real. Slipping on ice is real. Driving in a blizzard is challenging.
So practical advice.
Invest in proper gear before winter hits. We're talking a good, warm, waterproof coat, insulated waterproof boots with good treads, warm gloves or mitts, a hat that covers your ears. Quality matters here.
And learn how to get around safely.
Yes. If you drive, learn about winter tires and safe winter driving techniques. If you use public transit, know how storms might affect schedules.
And this gets back to well-being too, right? Not just hiding indoors for 6 months.
Absolutely. The guide makes a great point. Don't just hibernate. Embrace it. Try skating. Go to winter festivals. Enjoy a walk on a sunny, cold day if you're dressed for it.
Staying active and connected helps fight off the winter blues.
Exactly. It's part of the Canadian experience, for better or worse.
Okay, let's circle back to the job market one more time for a slightly deeper look. Mistake number 8. Not understanding the nuances of the Canadian job market.
Right. This goes beyond just the credential recognition we talked about earlier.
It's about expectations.
Yeah. The article highlights the frustration when skilled people arrive expecting to just pick up where they left off professionally.
But Canada really values local experience.
Hugely. And Canadian references. And sometimes there's a specific recertification process you need to go through, even if your skills are top-notch.
So it's not just do you have the skills, it's can you apply them effectively here?
Spot on. The guide advises, do your homework. Research the job outlook for your field in your specific city or province. Find out early if it's regulated and what hoops you need to jump through.
And be realistic.
Be realistic and be open. The guide suggests being willing to take transitional jobs at first.
Maybe something slightly different or a step down.
Could be. But gets you Canadian experience, Canadian references, and an income while you work towards your main goal. That local history is invaluable.
And keep learning.
Always. Look into programs for internationally trained professionals. Keep upgrading skills, online courses, workshops, Canadian certifications. The article really stresses flexibility, patience, and persistence. It often takes time.
Okay, so those are the main 8 mistakes the article lays out. But it wraps up with a bonus tip, which honestly feels maybe the most important of all.
It really does. It's about something many people overlook or feel they shouldn't talk about. Ignoring mental health and well-being.
Starting over is tough. Really tough.
Incredibly tough. You've left your support system, you're navigating a new culture, new systems. The article mentions culture shock, loneliness, stress. These are real things.
And the mistake is just trying to power through it alone, pretending it's not happening.
Yeah, just being strong. But that's not sustainable. It can lead to burnout, make everything else feel impossible.
So the advice is,
make your mental health a priority. Right from the start, talk about how you're feeling with friends, family, here or back home. And crucially, reach out for support.
there are resources.
Lots of them. Community organizations often have free or low-cost counseling, support groups specifically for newcomers facing these exact challenges. Don't hesitate to use them.
And staying connected socially helps too, right? Like we talked about with networking.
Absolutely. Join clubs, sports teams, volunteer groups. Staying active, building connections, it fights isolation, builds a new support system. The guide basically says caring for your emotional well-being is just as vital as finding a job or learning the language.
They're all connected.
Completely intertwined.
So wrapping this all up, the big message from this guide seems clear. Moving to Canada is this huge, exciting step full of potential.
Absolutely. But you can make the whole process a lot smoother, maybe even faster, if you're aware of these common pitfalls and actively work to avoid them.
Preparation seems to be the key theme.
Totally. Preparation, awareness, taking action. Whether it's getting credentials sorted early, understanding how money works here, being ready for winter, building connections, knowing about healthcare, or navigating the job search realistically.
Success comes from putting in that effort up front to understand how Canada works.
And the guide really encourages you. Stay curious, keep learning, use the settlement services available, there are many, and don't feel you have to do it all by yourself. Ask for help.
With patience, persistence, and that willingness to adapt, the guide suggests you can definitely find your way and build a great life here. Canada's ready for you.
And taking these steps helps you be ready for Canada.
Right. So this deep dive has walked us through quite a few common challenges highlighted in this guide for newcomers.
Definitely covered a lot of ground.
Thinking about everything we've discussed, credentials, jobs, money, weather, health, fitting in, mental well-being. From your perspective, reflecting on this source, what single aspect of preparing for life in a new